Hi there, welcome back to another PBTV Watch Party episode, now premiering on YouTube every Tuesday at noon. I'm your host, Theo Dorsey, and today I'm excited because we're celebrating Black History Month, a great time to learn more about the African American people who have influenced our culture and shaped our history. Today we'll highlight the people, places, and events that have enhanced Palm Beach County, Florida forever. The Okeechobee Hurricane of 1928 is still the deadliest hurricane to ever hit Florida. Although the African American victims were not granted a proper burial at the time, Palm Beach County has honored the lives lost.
Cemeteries often hold the key to a community's rich history. Filled with dates, names, and stories, the Evergreen Cemetery is the final resting place for some of Palm Beach County's most influential Black citizens for over 85 years. Some of the more notable ones are Dr. T. Leroy Jefferson, the area's first Black physician, and J.W. Minkins, who was an early educator. Let's talk to Dr. Alicia Wynn and Debbie Range to tell us a little bit more about this sacred place.
This is the site of Evergreen Cemetery, African American cemetery, which was initially started October 23rd in 1913 by founders. One, the first Black midwife, Mildred Gildersleeve, and many others came together, purchased at least 9 acres of land, and it is known to be Florida's first incorporated cemetery that was privately owned and operated by African Americans.
Wow.
The founders of putting this particular cemetery together, Mildred Gildersleeve is buried here, and T. Leroy Jefferson.
He was the first Black doctor, and he lived in the sticks first, and then into West Palm Beach. So he was the only Black doctor to service the entire Black community during that time.
Wow. So this still remains a very important sort of sacred place in the community.
We're at the corner of 25th Street and Tamarind Avenue, about a mile or two north of downtown West Palm Beach. Behind us are 700 bodies.
Behind us here?
Yes.
Wow.
This might very well be the most under-acknowledged historic site in all America. For 60 years, there was nothing. There was a field. That road back there was extended and relocated, and some of the bodies are under the street. How is that possible? Well, all of the victims were Black. In the 1920s, Florida was in the Deep South.
Sure.
And that adds to the tragedy that was and is the forgotten hurricane of 1928. The fact that most people have never heard of it might be the fact that people just can't keep track of all the hurricanes. It was followed by the Depression.
Sure.
The hurricane itself killed more people than any natural disaster in the history of the United States, with the only exception being the Great Galveston, Texas hurricane. Sunday morning, September 16th, 1928, the storm is here.
It did not curve.
Did not curve.
Right.
They were floating around in 10, 12, 15 feet of water over land. Drowned 3,000 people. 674 Black people were carted to this spot, and a bulldozer dug a hole, and the bodies went in.
Next, we'll visit Spady Cultural Heritage Museum in Delray Beach, where the experience of indentured servitude and the trek to freedom is preserved and highlighted in stark detail.
I'm standing in the Spady Cultural Heritage Museum, which has become the main center of discovering, collecting, and sharing African American history of Palm Beach County. And it all started with Solomon D. Spady. It's time to get a history lesson.
Mr. Spady was a teacher, basically, but he's credited for stabilizing education here in Delray Beach for Black people, colored people, because we were colored in the 20s. By the time Mr. Spady arrived in 1922, the railroad had opened. People were coming in, families are more permanent here in Delray Beach, and therefore the children are in school. Mr. Spady set up a functional course of education that was patterned after his mentor, George Washington Carver. So he taught the reading, the writing, the math, the critical thinking, but he also taught the wood shop, the farming, the home economics. He not only taught the children, but he would assist the families with financial needs and real estate needs.
Wow.
And he was just a real educator in the community for everyone. This is a slave receipt for the sale of a Negro. You know who owned this slave? Our former city manager, David Hardin. This was part of his archive, and he donated it to the Spady Museum.
Wow.
These kinds of things exist, they're real, there is documentation to prove it, and people need to know this thing. And look at the date on this. December 6th, 1855. That was not very long ago.
Not very long ago at all.
We will continue to use whatever communication vehicle we can find to get the word out that we're here, but most importantly, that Black history exists and is being preserved and is worth knowing.
Of course, and not only that, I mean, it's such an integral part of this area.
Absolutely.
Of Palm Beach County, which a lot of people don't know about.
Our mission is to preserve. Preservation is who we are, preservation and education. We're always involved in whatever it is that can share the history of our area, the history of our people, and the culture of our people.
Right.
We intend, with Mr. Spady's legacy, to continue bringing people together and making people understand how much we need each other.
The Spady Cultural Heritage Museum opens its doors for many who want to contribute to the history and community it's fostered, including promoting reading and literature.
The Spady Museum is open Tuesdays through Saturdays from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. And I can assure you it will give you chills as you learn about the first-hand experiences of our ancestors and their courageous journey to freedom. Now, right here in Palm Beach County, there's no better way to celebrate Black history than to highlight someone who is currently making her own place in history. Virginia Baker is the Palm Beach's first African-American county administrator.
And speaking of leadership, let's meet County Administrator Virginia Baker. She's the first African-American and first woman in that role. Virginia Baker is known by her peers as the calm in any storm. Well, who can't use a little calm right now? Let's go meet her. There's so many firsts, right? But let me tell you what impressed me the most. You oversee 6,800 positions with a $6 million budget?
$6 billion.
Billion. How do you keep that straight?
I have an outstanding team that helps me through the process. And without that team, there is no success. My commissioners, I've got 7 of them, they're my bosses, that set policy and we take it and we implement.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
You got it.
Yeah. What does an administrator actually do? And what's a day in the life of Virginia Baker like?
One day is never the same. My main function is carrying out the policies that the board sets, just making sure that the quality of life in Palm Beach County is what the residents deserve. We work with economic development, we work with the business community to make sure that we're growing businesses here in Palm Beach County, our existing businesses are expanding, and we're bringing in new businesses to augment and diversify our economy.
You've obviously accomplished a lot. What's one of the favorite sort of accomplishments? What's your like?
I think that recruiting Scripps, a portion of Scripps, to Palm Beach County, and they became Scripps, Florida. That's when they moved to the Mecca site.
Yeah,
so
that's
yes.
a big get.
Working with Sports Commission on various activities coming in, working and being a part of building the convention center we have today as we continue to grow. We created the Community Land Trust to help make housing affordable.
Gosh, it seems like that's a lot of, your job seems a lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure. You also support something personal to me. You also always are around for the Student Showcase of Films every year, which is I've been doing now for 16 years.
Yes. That is a major spoke in our wheel. Film and television, that is a major element within our community when it comes to economic development. And so we wanted to grow our own kids.
Yeah, it's incredible what it does for tourism.
You got that right. The 28th annual Palm Beach's Student Showcase of Films Red Carpet Award Show is coming up April 21st of 2023, and you don't want to miss it. Visit pbfilm.com for more information. Thank you again for joining us today for another great episode, and we encourage you to come to the Palm Beaches and explore the rich history on display everywhere. Visit thepalmbeaches.tv to watch the full episodes of the shows featured on today's watch party. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. And as always, thank you for your time today. I'm Theo Dorsey, and I'll see you next week.
What's poppin', PBC? What's poppin'? What's poppin', PBC? What's poppin'?
Hey, y'all ready? Join me, Kitty London, as I take you on a PBC tour. Whether you are single and ready to mingle or you come with a family, we will explore affordable and high-end places for you to go and places for you to see. If you like to eat, explore the outdoors, meet great people, and get entertained, What's Poppin' PBC is the show for you. Whether you are ballin' or ballin' on a budget, we have something for you. What's Poppin'? PBC.